Oh, hello,
Oh, hello.
and welcome to the Comic Queens podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Annie, and we're super happy to have you here with us today. Today, we are going to be talking with you all about some of our favorite completed series that we've read. These are ones that Alex and I have both read, so we kind of agree on all of these. But then we also have a couple of honorable mentions to talk through, just some other recommendations for some things you should definitely read through. A completed series is nice. It's a nice way to get the dose of everything you need.
It's good to have a completed series, even though you want the ones that you can read week to week, because sometimes it's just nice to be able to sit down and start something and know what's going to happen at the end and not have to wait.
Yeah, you get your closure.
Yes.
I feel like that's so important. So we're super excited to share with you our recommendations today. And so, Alex, how about you start us off with one of your favorite completed series?
Okay, so this is a recently completed series. It is one of my all-time favorites. It is Secondo Piatto. A beautiful, beautiful story.
A beautiful story.
It's a boy love drama.
Yes.
It is 81 episodes and no spin-offs, no prologues, so just 81 straight episodes on Manta. And it is about, well, let me read the description first. So, here's the description. Hyunwook is a coward when it comes to his longtime crush, Heesun, who suddenly announces that she's getting married. He helps her plan her wedding at a restaurant called Secondo Piatto. There, he meets Won-young, an old friend of Heesun's fiancé. But why is Won-young crying on the day of the wedding? So, if this storyline sounds familiar to you, and you have read Shape of Sympathy, that's because it is a very similar plotline to the start of Shape of Sympathy.
So much better than Shape of Sympathy, though.
So much better than Shape of Sympathy. It is basically, I read Shape of Sympathy first, and then I made you read Shape of Sympathy as well, and then made you read Secondo Piatto and said, you will love this one so much more.
And I did. To be fair, the Shape of Sympathy week over week is still a traumatic experience for me. Every time I read it, it just somehow gets worse.
It does. And I gave it so much space at the beginning, but the epilogue has really, really put a bad taste in my mouth for that one.
I will say, I know boy love is usually your genre. That is usually, if anybody's recommending it, it's you. But Secondo Piatto is up there as one of my favorite webcomics in general.
It's such a good story. The characters are so well developed. They have so much growth through the whole series. So Hyunwook is the childhood friend of Heesun. He is a police officer. He's really carefree. He kind of just goes about life doing what he wants. And Won-young is really the opposite of that. He's super serious. He's a chef. His childhood friend is Min-seok, and they're both in love with their childhood friends. They meet at the wedding. Since Won-young is the chef and he's got all of this extra food, Heesun is why don't you give this food to Hyunwook? And so Hyunwook goes to get this food at the end of the wedding and finds Won-young just bawling, crying at the end of the wedding, and he's super drunk. And so they end up drinking together and have a one-night stand. And from there, that's really where their relationship starts. So Hyunwook in the beginning gets in the relationship because he realizes that Won-young is in love with Min-seok, and he wants to save Heesun and Min-seok's relationship by not having drama enter into it. And it really just develops from there. And they just have such a beautiful relationship with so much growth. It is really just the perfect series.
It really is so great. The ending, too, I feel it does have one of those resolves where you feel everybody is in a good place. And it's an actually good stopping point. I feel a lot of completed series that I've read, there's so much conflict and buildup, and then the resolution is 1 or 2 episodes and it's over. Yes. And you're just I need more. But I will say, as much as I was sad when the series ended, Secondo Piatto was one that I was no, they definitely give you all of this buildup and closure before it actually ends. And so it ends on a note where you're like, I know that this is in a good place.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong. I love the ending, but I do have to say, and I said this as my most disappointing moment in a previous episode, but I just wanted it to go on forever. I could just watch them do the most mundane tasks and be totally happy with it.
I know. It's just because the characters are so great. You get so attached to them. Honestly, like, it's one of those things, too, where you said it's like 80-something episodes.
Yeah.
And it feels so short, but so much also happens.
There's a lot that they pack into it. And they get past the relationship as being the main issue and move on to some other stuff that I won't give away because it'll give away some of the story. But they have a whole other plot line that is like really interesting about Wan Young's restaurant.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great choice, honestly, Secondo Piatto. Such a beautiful story. Definitely, like, there are definitely comments from a lot of people, especially on, like, the Manta Reddit, about how it's hard to find boy loves that aren't super abusive or, like, don't have, like, these problematic themes involved. So if you're looking for one that is genuinely, like, easy to digest and enjoy, it's this one.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
100%.
So, Annie, what is one that you recommend that's a completed series?
Okay. Well, I mean, a lot of them, but also I'd have to say, so my first recommendation is going to be Tainted Half. It is like one of the shorter ones. So this is only 41 episodes. So if you're crazy like me, it takes you like a day or two to finish.
I honestly didn't remember it being that short because the story, again, is so good. It feels like it's longer than that.
It is. And it does span over like quite a bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's such a beautiful story. And I know that we say this about basically every webcomic we read, but the art is stunning. Like, there are just moments where like I'll sit there on panels and just like stare at the art and like look at all the details that were put into it. The characters are just beautiful.
So
like
beautiful.
Every single one. And so it was such a like beautiful read. The story is great. And I just love it in general. Plus it's a romance period piece, which is like one of my all-time faves.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, for anyone who has not read this, the story is about Seolia. She is the daughter of this tribe of healers that are known as like the most beautiful people in the world. And basically it comes out that the emperor, who is known for being like really cruel and awful, is in search of the most beautiful concubine. And she, as like this young woman, is basically deemed to be like the most beautiful person ever. And so her mom, in like a bid to like quote unquote save her, she just decides to like disfigure her face with acid. Mm-hmm. She's like, she's the most beautiful person, but I don't want the emperor to get what he wants out of my daughter.
And he specifically wants someone from her tribe of people too.
Yeah.
Which she is one of the last ones, right?
Well, so what ends up happening is they go basically on like a suicide mission. They're like, Seolia is the one who deserves to live, and they basically all off themselves. So she's basically the only option, and she's disfigured. Mm-hmm. But the emperor knows that this tribe has healing powers, and they have like all of this beauty, etc. And so he's like, oh, I'll keep her around so that I can have a beautiful heir to the throne or whatever, and just like use her to my advantage. But he's awful. He like abuses her. He mocks her constantly. Like all of the other concubines treat her awful. And he basically just keeps her around as like a toy.
Yeah.
To like treat her terribly. Like she lives in these shabby quarters.
She's got the worst house of all the concubines.
Yeah. It's just awful. And so basically his twin brother returns from war, and he sees Seolia and immediately is like in love with her. And she is just so damaged. It's basically about her trying to find her freedom and like leaving this terrible abuse behind. And like, how can she learn how to trust and everything else? The growth in the story is just phenomenal. The twists and the turns. It is like one of the more dramatic ones. I don't usually read drama, but there's a lot of it in there. But it all resolves super well. And it is like, for a short series, they give you so much growth and movement, and also like a nice resolve in the end.
It is a really good ending. For a short one especially, since usually, like you said, they're so rushed at the end sometimes. And this one has just enough that you get exactly what you want.
Yeah, I think it's great. If you want something short and sweet, a romance, which is like always my favorite, then highly recommend it. I think it's just stunning as a story, as artwork, everything. So, highly recommend. But Alex, what's another completed series you're recommending?
Okay, so this is one of the first ones that I read. It might have been the first completed series I read. And this is Bloody Sweet, which is a romance supernatural. And it is 91 episodes. It does have a prologue, and it has 5 spin-offs at the end. But it is a vampire story, which I love. It's so good. So it's about Nehrim, and she is a girl bullied by her classmates, and she accidentally discovers a magical cabinet inside of an abandoned church. She is surprised to find a man fall out from the cabinet and lick the blood of her bleeding knee. As she runs away, a mysterious string trails behind her with no end in sight. Where does it lead?
Oh my gosh.
So it's got that kind of string of fate piece through it.
Love it.
Which I love. The main characters are Nehrim and Fetishu. I love Fetishu. He is such a good male lead. And I just love, one of my favorite things about the series was just how excited he was to see her every single day, every time. He would just be like, Master!
I know. I do love, like, he's not so kind and, like, golden retriever-y to everybody. It's just to her.
It's just her. And I love that. That's one of my favorite tropes of I'm kind of a jerk to everyone except for you.
Yeah, you make me into a teddy bear, but I'm also kind of awful.
Yes.
Because I'm a literal vampire.
Yes. And so she's bullied too. So that's like part of the story. She's in high school. She's been bullied pretty much her whole time in school by all of the other girls in school. And her mom is a mudang, which is a Korean shaman. And so that's why she's bullied, because there's so much stigma against her and her mom. And that's what kind of gets her to be the one that they make go into the church and open the cabinet and do all of that stuff. So it's really interesting that that's kind of how she gets her start, is like she's bullied and she's all alone. She's really trying to find a connection with people. She doesn't have a connection with her mom.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a good relationship with her mom, and she doesn't have a good relationship at school. So she just kind of feels like she has no one. Mm-hmm. And then she gets Fetishu, and it all works out, and it's beautiful. It's another one that's a really good ending too. I feel like probably all of the ones we're going to talk about have good endings, but this one is just, it gives you enough. It has the spinoffs, which honestly, I remember reading the spinoffs. I don't remember a ton about them, but I don't know if you do.
I feel like in general, like when I read these stories and they have the spinoffs, to me, it's just that's the story still.
Yeah.
Like I don't even pay attention to like where it was supposed to end. I'm like, no, these spinoffs are the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like how I remember it. Is like the ending is like when it genuinely ends. In general, I just know like it gives you so much closure, and the characters are so great. I love that like it does get to a point where she doesn't really have anybody, and Fetishu obviously is like this ancient vampire, so he has nobody, but they have each other. And so they really do like make it through
and learn to rely on each other, because they're both not used to having anyone to rely on. And so they kind of both have to go through that growth individually to come together. And it's so good. I love it.
I know. It's Twilight, but way more wholesome and way better written.
A much better Twilight.
A much better Twilight. That's the tagline for Bloody Sweet.
Yes, they should let us write the tags, really.
Don't do that. I don't recommend it. But yes, such a good story. I agree with you 100%.
So Annie, what is another one that you love?
So my next choice had to be Moonrise by the Cliff. This story was one that like I binged it, because it was already completed by the time I started. And The story is so beautiful. It's also so sad. Again, I don't usually read dramas, but this is a definite drama. But Moonrise by the Cliff has 56 episodes, and on top of that, it has 10 spin-off episodes, I think, like somewhere around there. But it's basically about this girl, Samuel, and she lives on this island. It's, I mean, like very, you know, by itself in the middle of the ocean. And basically there is this rumored brute king who's getting exiled to this island. And her father, who has early onset dementia, can't like take on all of his tasks. And he's tasked with being the guard of like making sure that this king stays in his house, like confined there. And so because her dad can't do the job, and because like it's this small little island, not like no one else can take it on, and she needs money, she ends up doing it. So she just like puts on her dad's clothes and goes and stands guard for this king outside of his house. And basically it's just how she like looks and sees this king who's like, again, rumored to have like stolen a bunch of people's virginity and like raped people and awful. And he's just so brutal. Kind to her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, how did this person actually do these things? Did they actually do these things? Like, he's just sitting there like, will you drink with me? Will you spend time with me? Will you talk with me? Like, he's just kind of desperate for that attention. And like slowly, as they strike up conversation, they build up this rapport and this relationship that's beautiful, because she kind of feels like she has no one. Like, she doesn't. She's alone and dealing with hard stuff, her dad's illness, etc.
The storyline with her dad is just so sad. I also, like you, binged this one so quickly because it is such a good story, and I cried at one point with her storyline with her dad, because it is just so tragic.
It is. I mean, and she lost her mom young. The characters are just so well written. Like, you really feel for them. And ultimately, like, Juan and Samuel have such a good relationship. Like, I love like the stories where you have a character who like is just completely misunderstood or like portrayed as evil, but they're definitely not. And that's definitely one of these. Like, Samuel gets to see a side of Juan that like, one, she would never get to. She lives on this tiny island. How would she get to know this king?
Yeah.
And so it's just like, because of their terrible circumstances, they just end up running into each other and like building this beautiful relationship. It's so cute. I love it so much. It is like one that like, it's easy to binge. It's just so good. You want to continue reading. And it's just like a beautiful mix of heartwarming and also heart-wrenching, and ultimately has a great resolve.
Yeah.
So
it's also one that I see people on Reddit talk about a lot, of when people are asking for good completed series recommendations. That one comes up all the time.
That's because everyone on the Reddit has great taste.
It's true.
Except when they talk about Duke These's crusty lips.
I mean,
I take that personally.
That is something that it has not ruined the story for me, because I still love the story. But every time I look at him, I think about his crusty lips.
I think about way different things than that. But that's fine. But not to stray away from it, Alex, let's talk about another completed series.
Okay, so this completed series, I think we have a minor debate on who actually introduced who to this series.
We definitely do.
Because I swear you introduced this to me, and you swear I introduced it to you. What I think happened is that you started reading it, I read it, raved about it, and then you decided to go back and read it again. And it is The New Recruit. One of my all-time favorites. It's a boy love drama, specifically an office place romance. You know I love the office romance. It is my favorite.
And it's so specific.
It's so specific, but it is one of the best tropes. I just love it. My all-time favorite series, No Moral, also an office romance.
Yes.
So The New Recruit has 35 episodes. On Manta, it's got one epilogue and one bonus episode. No prologue or anything like that. But basically, the description for this one is, after spending his 20s getting over a crush, Seong-hung vows to never give his heart to someone in the same field again. Enter Jong Chan, Song-young's tough new boss with a surprising soft side. Will Seong-hun's first job and relationship be a success? Spoiler. It will.
Is it a spoiler? I mean, we know.
It's not a spoiler. It's a love story. We knew it was going there.
We all know the starting and the ending point.
It's the middle.
It's the in-between that's the surprise, really.
Here's the thing, though. With most stories, I don't even care if they're the same plot over and over again. I will read the tiniest difference in the same plot. I love an office romance.
When you find a plot that you love, why not stick with it? I don't see anything wrong with this. The characters have different names. It's a different story.
It's a completely different story.
There you go.
You don't actually know that it's going to end happy, even if you know.
I will say, so you just said it was like 30-something episodes. I don't remember it being that short.
I didn't remember it being that short either. Again, great character growth. So the main character, Seong-hun, he is joining an advertising team as an intern. I also love it because the advertising scene is just like a really fun, like high-paced work environment type vibe that I, again, love to read about. So
a bunch of late nights in the office.
We all love a late night in the office in a story, not in real life.
Not in real life. Don't work that overtime. Act your wage, everybody.
Get your work-life balance on. Unless you're reading about it, then don't.
No, then you have to binge like your life depends on it.
But basically, he's an intern, he's brand new, he's like super nervous. He's working for Jong Chan, who is like really, really well respected and really good at his job and like known for being super serious. Mm-hmm. And he does not want to fall in love. He had unrequited love before with his crush and like just never got over it.
Yeah.
And so they end up working closely together on some projects and like, of course, fall in love because that's what an office romance is. And it's just a really, really good story. So he is, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. That's it. It's just a really good story. It's super short and sweet. You can read it in probably a day.
Yeah. I do love, like, in general, how the boss is not only, like, a good boss and a mentor, but, like, a supportive partner.
Yeah, he is.
I do love, like, how they work together. And I do think in this one, like, a lot of stories with office romances, there's always this problem of, like, people balancing, like, boss versus partner. And I think that they do a really good job as a couple.
They do a really good job. And the ending is one of my favorite endings. It works out really well for both of the main characters and together and individually, and has like such a super sweet epilogue. So yeah, I highly recommend if you're into office romance or boy love or drama or all three.
As we
read
are.
This one.
Yes, highly recommend.
So Annie, what else do you love as a completed series?
So when I think of a completed series that I love, another one springs to mind is The Demon Queen Has a Death Wish. This is also one of the quicker reads, like one that if you're crazy like me, you can kind of binge it in like 1 to 2 days because it's only 45 episodes, start to finish. But it's a fantasy romance. And essentially, it's about a world in which, like, humans got super greedy, which kind of just sounds like our world. But the humans get greedy, and they end up waging war against, like, this demon empire. Because they're like, we want to rule everything. And they lose because they don't have all of these magical powers. And, you know, they just aren't as strong, like...
I think it's fair to say they underestimated the demons.
Yeah, they underestimated what they started here. But essentially, the demon queen, who like leads everyone to victory, she's born into this world. Like, her parents were basically like royalty, and she just kind of took over when they were no longer around. And when she assumes her position, she's just kind of tired of it. Like, they win the war. She just rules over everything. And she's like, this is boring. I'm done. Like, I have nothing to look forward to. Everything's stagnant. And she essentially is like, the only way I can escape is if I die. It's so sad. Mm-hmm. Like, it is heartbreaking. And essentially, there's this lore that says that the demons can only be defeated by this sun warrior, who's described as this like strong man who's blonde with blue eyes, which is like very rare in general in this world. And so she ends up like, she's just looking through like one of the villages that they've destroyed or whatever. And like, there are very few people walking through, and she sees this peasant man who like matches the description perfectly, just like walking around. So she's like, I'm going to kidnap you. Like, consider yourself kidnapped. And she takes him, and like immediately he just like, he's like, oh my gosh, thank you. I've never left this village. Like, thanks for taking me on this trip.
Again, this is a really, really cute miscommunication.
The cutest miscommunication. Like, she basically adopts this peasant. And she's just like, you fit the description of this lore, and so I'm making it so that you're going to be the person who kills me. Mm-hmm. Because you have to be. You have to be the sun warrior. And like, he's so thankful to her for like giving him food on the table, giving him a place to live. Like, he like picks her bouquets of flowers. Like, he loves her immediately. Mm-hmm. Like, complete and total golden retriever energy. And basically, just because she's like, the thing I want the most is to die, he's like, I will train to do that for you. Because he's it would break so my conflicted. Heart. I know. It's such a sad but gripping story about like love and how you want to do what the person you love asks of you. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, he's like, I just can't understand where you're coming from because I want you to live. Like, mm-hmm. I want you around. It is such a sad and gripping and beautiful story about a demon and a human. But it's so good. It
has one of my favorite side characters. I can't remember his name, but he's the Demon Queen's first commander, the snake.
Oh, I don't remember him either. I know the wolf is Cain.
Yeah, it's not Cain. It's like Amos, maybe?
Something like that.
Something like that, but I love him. His backstory, I remember when I got to his backstory, it's just so sad. It's, again, heartbreaking to see how he was dealing with life before, and how you get kind of the backstory of how humans were not treating demons well before, even before they attacked the humans. And so it's just like, it brings so much extra to the story, I think, to see kind of where they were before, where they are now, and how they can all move forward from it.
I know. It's so beautiful. Honestly, just the fact that it's only 45 episodes, it like still baffles me, because the story that they're able to tell in so little time is just, it's so wonderful. Honestly, highly recommend. If you have not read The Demon Queen Has a Death Wish, it is such a good story.
So good.
Highly recommend. So Alex, give me another recommendation. What's a good completed series?
Okay, so this last one is called Prequel Romance. It is, surprise, surprise, a boy love drama. But it is 53 episodes, so it's a shorter one. And it's about Taejin and Hasung. And so Taejin has it all. Looks, talent, fame, money, everything except a decent personality. With his reputation on the line, Taejin gets sent to work at a factory for a movie that will save his career. But will he be able to survive a life of hard labor under the beady eyes of factory chief Hasung? It's one of my favorites. This is one that I read and immediately said, Annie, you have to read this. It is so good.
It's true.
The main characters they have such a good relationship. They're so funny. Taejin is basically, he's been an actor his entire life. He's super entitled and spoiled and doesn't have to work for any, I mean, he works as an actor, but he doesn't have to like work to get what he wants.
Yeah.
And he kind of pisses off the government. And because,
as one does.
As one does, as a famous actor. And so since he has pissed off the government, he ends up having to work in a government-produced movie about a factory. And so he has to go and work in this factory. And it is the first time in his entire life that he has had to do any type of manual labor. And it's not easy for him. It doesn't go well at the beginning.
Yeah, he's not great at it at the beginning.
He's not great at all. And his boss, Ha-sung, is like complete opposite as him. It's definitely like an opposites attract kind of situation. Mm-hmm. And they end up having to live together because there's nowhere for Taejin to stay. And so they end up getting close through that. Some like enemies to lovers again.
Yeah, they basically become, like, my understanding was that it was like work supplied housing. And so they basically end up being roommates so that Taejin gets like the full experience.
Yes.
Of like living on site, going straight to work, and that's like your life.
That's his whole life. He has to ride in the van with everyone else, which he hates. He buys ridiculous furniture that doesn't fit in the apartment, which Ha-sung does not like. And yeah, it's a really, really good story. Again, a ton of character growth.
Yeah, I
do
love
both characters.
Love when like a rich, spoiled person gets humbled. Mm-hmm. Love it.
Love it. And Ha-sung learns to kind of grow, and he just has basically said to himself, this is my lot in life. This is where I belong and where I have to stay, and kind of learns that he doesn't have to do what he's basically been told. This is the path you must follow, and learns to follow his own path. And I just love it. It's so good.
I do love that. I love that they both were able to take their own experiences and influence each other to better themselves and give them like new horizons. I think it's great. The entire story is wonderful. I love a spoiled brat who kind of like gets humbled in the end. And like really, there's such a good match because you have like this one like super vibrant, spoiled person and this other super hardworking person. One person who thinks they deserve everything. Another person who like feels like they deserve the bare minimum. And like they end up kind of giving each other a little bit of, you know, their own doses of medicine to kind of like help them even out and like find that happy medium. So, I love it. That's a great choice.
So good. So, what is your final recommendation?
So, when it comes to my final recommendation for completed series, I have to go with Devil Number 4. This is one on Webtoon. I know I feel like I gravitate towards Manta webcomics, but this is one that I like spent all the coins on. Like, unlocked every single episode so I can read the entire series through whenever I want. Like, it's one of my absolute all-time favorites.
Absolutely worth spending all of your coins on.
Absolutely. It is so good. The art is wonderful. The story is so well written. And, like, this is one of the webcomics that essentially, like, got me into webcomics. Mm-hmm. Like, at least at, like, a bingeable level. Like, I was fine with, like, reading and dabbling in a few of them. But this is the one that I read it and go, I need to read this. Like, all of it. I need to, like, every episode. Just right now. I was reading until like 4 a.m. But essentially there are 110 episodes and then there are 10 bonus and spin-off episodes afterwards. Mm-hmm. So it's like a good long story. It's a supernatural romance. So kind of like Bloody Sweet. But essentially it's about Hana Yoon. She's like a 21-year-old girl. She's a student. So like a lot of people that I know, or I've been this person myself, like you just kind of get into this like stagnant, you're moving through the motions, like you don't have any money, you like barely have stuff you're looking forward to because you're just so busy that like you get into this monotonous like day in, day out, same routine. Mm-hmm. And she's just like, I just want a good job. Like, I just want a good job. I want some money. I don't even need to be like rich. I just want to be able to like afford things. She lives in like this shabby little like, it's a room technically that she's renting, but it's like a leaky closet. Like she ends up having to move out because like one of the pipes burst and her room like floods.
And she has 3 or 4 roommates.
Yeah.
In this tiny, tiny place that they're sharing.
Yeah. But it's like the only place she can afford.
Yeah.
She's a student. She's struggling. And so as any person who's struggling, this is when this devil is like, oh, she's at her lowest point. She needs something, and I can be the one who gives that to her and take advantage of the situation. Because essentially there's, you know, it's like Satan's corporate ladder.
Yes.
Essentially.
It's very, when you think about it, it's got very similar to Lore Olympus in that way of Hades being the kind of corporate underworld. And it's just kind of interesting that they both have that theme of corporations are evil.
Yeah. No, I mean, it literally is. And so he's devil number 4. Like, the lower the number, the higher the standing they are. So he's like one of the big wigs. And he's like super well known for like pulling off all these crazy jobs, which essentially just equates to that he's able to convince like these people who don't really have all of these like crazy wild desires to like ask for all of this like buck wild stuff. Like, I want 15 trillion cars and like all this. And he's like, yes, you can have that, but then I get your soul after a year. And so he sees Hana and he's like, oh, you know, done deal, signed, sealed, I got this. And so he approaches her and he's like, hey, I can give you whatever you want. Just give me your soul. It's fine. Like, you just give me your soul. And she's like, nah, I'm good. And she's just walking away and he approaches her several times. He's like, okay, but please, like, please just give me your soul. I'll give you anything. Like, I'm watching you struggle and it's hard for me to watch. like, how are you even doing this? Because like, I'm sad just looking at you. And she's just like, no, I'm fine. Like, all I really want is like a job. And he's like, okay, I'll give you a job then. And so he starts like giving her these little small things that she's asking for without stealing her soul and without making her sign a contract. And then it's just kind of about their relationship and how like he's thinking this is going to be his big break. And ultimately he just kind of feels bad for her. Like, he almost just supplies for her out of sympathy. And like, they do end up signing this contract together eventually, but it's like very haphazard, not how it's supposed to go. And ultimately it's just like how their friendship and everything kind of grows from there. Like, he gets to see this side of human life that he's not used to seeing because he's used to dealing with all these people with random, crazy, like, off-the-wall desires. And she's not like that. Like, she never gets to that point. And I love it. Like, even though she gets to a point where she can have anything she wants, she just wants, like, a stable life. And I think it's so sweet.
Yeah, she doesn't have any desires, which is why he keeps pursuing her so much.
Yeah.
Which is just, I love that storyline and I love him. He's, again, another great male lead.
He is also beautiful.
So beautiful. And I love, too, like, they don't make him... He's not a good character in the beginning.
No.
He has to have a lot of growth as well, which I think is what makes most of these that we've talked about really good stories. The ones that stick with us are the ones that we see a lot of character growth.
Oh, yeah.
And you can just feel how they develop. And, like, you don't have to be a perfect person. You're going through life. You're making mistakes. And then you grow from them and you learn from them. And those are the kind of stories that just, no matter what the genre is, we keep going back to over and over again.
Yeah, I think it's just so wonderful and great. Devil number 4, I mean, like, it really does tie in a lot of the supernatural. And it's just a very interesting look at, like, angels and demons and stuff like that. Like, I watched the show Supernatural for a really long time. And they had their own approach to, like, angels and demons. So it's always kind of, like, something I'm interested in just to see, like, how people, you know, kind of work around that concept differently. But ultimately, it's just so great. The art is wonderful. The characters are just so well written. And I love Hana. Like, as a character, she's, like, one of my favorite female leads. because she's just so relatable. Mm-hmm. She's so good. I love it.
So good.
It was super hard to narrow everything down. So I know we have a couple of honorable mentions that we wanted to put in. So if you're wanting to get your fill of completed series, just get all of your closure right then and there, binge a good series in general. Alex, what other honorable mentions would you give us?
Okay, so I put down 5 more honorable mentions. They are Broken Melody, Love of Cloud and Rain, Mokrin, The Perfect Replacement, and Spring, the Color of Love.
So fun. I need to read Spring, the Color of Love.
They're all really, really great stories. Again, a lot of character growth in all of those. But Annie, what are your honorable mentions?
So I also have 5 different honorable mentions. Actually, 2 of them are from Manta and 3 are from Webtoon. So from Manta, I have Nice to Meet You and Red String of Fate. They are 2 of my favorite stories in general. I know that I say that about basically every series. I have a lot of favorites. I have a problem. But they are both just such wholesome stories. They're both romances, but they're both very different. And then off of Webtoon, I loved My Deepest Secret, which is actually like a mystery or like a thriller. Mm-hmm. And then there's also The First Night with the Duke and Happily Ever Afterwards. So
I haven't read any of your honorable mentions, so I guess I'll have to add those all to my list.
You will. You'll have to add every single one. They're all phenomenal. I have great taste. But yes, if you have any completed series for us that we have not mentioned here today, if you want to see if we've read them or just start a conversation in general, feel free to just email us at the email in the description. And we would love to have a chat with you, maybe talk about some of the different completed series in a future episode.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us today on the Comic Queens podcast. And we hope to talk with you on the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye.